Hey guys, this is Peat. Oh wait, hang on 2 seconds. Sorry guys, my bad, that was actually Pete Allison from Woven Whisky in Edinburgh. This is peat, which is effectively a big hairy brick that we burn in Scotland to both heat our homes and of course malt the barley for our smokier single malt Scotch whiskies too. So first up, what the hell is peat? Well, basically it is the prequel to coal in a sense. It is a semi-carbonized vegetation which compresses in the ground over both hundreds and thousands of years. So to get just 1 millimetre of peat in Scotland takes 1 year. So to get a metre takes 1,000 years. The DNA of peat is effectively made up of all the historical flora and fauna from that area. So all the local plants, vegetation, seaweeds, even animals and insects. So just ask yourself the next time you're nosing a peated Scotch whisky, is there a hint of dinosaur in there? And effectively, we've been using peat in Scotland for a very long time because it was the most readily available fuel source for malting our barley, which is effectively drying out the barley during that initial process to try and get the sugars out of the barley. What happens is the smoke rises through the barley and the oils attach themselves to the barley. The result is that phenols, those smoky smells and aromas and flavors, actually carry from the barley throughout the whole whiskey making process until we have the final whiskey. The resulting spectrum of flavors can be anything from smoky bacon, smoked kippers, tar, burning leather couch, all the way up to things like antiseptic, hospital smells, iodine, TCP, you name it. It is a pretty hefty aroma of flavors you're going to get with peated whiskies. Now, of course, the way that we measure this is through ppm or parts per million of phenols. So when a specific distillery wants their barley peated, they will say to a malting house, or some of them do it on site, saying this is how much peat we want in our whiskies. So we have 3 grades of peated whiskey. We've got the lightly peated, which is 15 ppm and below. We've got medium peated, which is about 50 to 30 ppm. And then of course the heavily peated bad boys are 30 ppm and above. Now, just to add even more layers to this, we've actually got different peat cuts as well. So the different layers of peat in the ground give you different amounts of phenols in the whiskey. So the top layer of peat, which actually burns cooler, is better for getting those smokier whiskies because it dries the barley more slowly, whereas the deeper cuts of peat actually burn hotter and so are faster at burning. And so effectively, if you want to dry your barley more quickly and have less phenols, that's the way to go, or you can mix it up a bit as well. Now, back in the sort of mid to late 1800s, a lot of Scottish distilleries actually veered away from using peat due to the demands of blended Scotch whiskies looking for lighter, more floral, more fruity styles of whiskey. So in Scotland now, when you think of peated Scotch whiskies, a lot of it leans towards the west coast, places like Islay, that maritime character, you know, seaweed and all those kind of flavors you expect from the coastal whiskies. However, there are a lot of mainland distilleries which use peat as well, and you might be surprised about some of those really heavy peated single malt whiskies. And if you want to find out what the top 10 heavily most peated single malt Scotch whiskies are, I'm afraid you're going to have to stay tuned for the next episode. Cheers.